Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Schmidt and I am playing a new survival game called Valheim, which just released on February 2nd, so only a few days ago. And I've already put in about 20 hours or so, and most of it's actually being spent farming to build a new base and kind of designing it a little bit, putting in some different features and designs and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Now, I'm going to save you some of that time and gonna give you my top 5 beginner tips for building a base. Now, most people I'm sure know how to build a 4x4 little shack with 4 walls and a roof, but I'm going to show you some tips that maybe the game might not tell you right off the bat, but hopefully it'll make your life a little easier. So let's say you jumped into the game now, you learned how to build a workbench, you've got sort of some of the basics down, but you decided that, you know what, I want to try and improve my base, I want to settle down properly into a nice little area, and I want to really make this nicest space that I can make. Let's say that we've decided to lay in this area here, and this whole area now is going to be where we're going to build our base. First off, once you place the workbench down, you'll notice if you pull out a hammer, you'll be able to see when you build it, this little ring around here is the area that you can pretty much build and construct things. This is the ring. Anything outside of this and you won't be able to build until you build another workbench to expand that space. But we're going to just work within this circle for now. The first tip I can give you is to get something else and not a hammer, and is actually to use a hoe. Now the reason you want to use a hoe is because a hoe, when you right click on it, there's 3 options for what the hoe can do to the ground around you. You're kind of terraforming the ground a little bit. First thing is you can level the ground. This is important because when you're going to build the base, as you can see now, I'm on a little bit of a hilly terrain. I'm on the side of a mountain, but just among here, there's a lot of minor micro hills here, and I want to try and flatten this all out. So it doesn't require any resources or anything like that. It just requires your stamina. So what I can do here is just start left clicking, and all those little hills that were just here start getting flattened out into an area. And as you can see, my stamina's run out, so I'll just wait for it to come back and start flattening out the area, and that way I've flattened out this little area here to build a base. So let's say you finally built your first little home, it's your humble abode, and you've got the beginning foundations to a nice little base. Now, aside from building a base, one thing you got to think about is warmth. And so one thing you're gonna have to build is a fireplace. Now you could build a campfire right outside and use that as warmth, and you can sit right outside, but wouldn't it be better to be inside? But the problem with it being inside is you can't put fireplaces on wood floors. So one way of doing that is if we take this fireplace here and we break it down, because we will be using it, pick up the stone that we need for it. Then as you come in here, what you can do is actually break the wood floor and with the floor exposed below. And what you can do then is take a fireplace and put it right on top. For aesthetic reasons, some people might not want to have this fireplace with an exposed piece of dirt on the floor. You can actually then build a wooden floor underneath the fireplace and the fire will stay. And there you have it. And now we have a nice little fireplace in your home. As you can see here, the next tip I want to give you is I've left a little opening because smoke gathers in the house. And this is a mechanic that they put in the game, which is awesome. And I love the immersion. If I were to close this off, which I'll do that now, if you close off the roof, you'll see smoke will start to gather in your house. And what happens is it actually does damage to you, and you'll actually get hurt from inhaling all that smoke. So we need to find a way to allow that smoke to escape, so we can always just break a hole in the roof and have some space for the smoke to dissipate. Leading on, this is my third tip for you guys, and is that when it rains, now your fireplace is exposed, and what will happen to your fireplace is the rain will actually put out the fire. So how do you simultaneously allow the smoke out without allowing the rain in? Well, it's a very simple solution. The one thing you want to do here is you want to build a roof, except you want to flip it to the opposite direction, and you want to put it on top of where the hole is. This way, the rain, as the rain comes down vertically, the rain will not go through the hole of your rooftop, and then what happens is the smoke is still allowed to go out. So this is what it looks like from afar. You've got your very own little smokestack, chimney stack, whatever you want to call it, allowing the smoke out but not the rain in. You can keep your fire nice and toasty inside. Now my fourth tip for you is while you're building your base, you've got to think about the integrity and the structure and the strength of your pieces as you're building them. As you'll see, there's different colors when you hover over the pieces, and that denotes their strength or their integrity of the actual piece. So as we go down here, the blue pieces down below are the strongest because obviously they're down onto the floor, and then you go to green pieces that are one up from the actual base or foundation of your building. Now as you go further up, you'll notice the color will change. So if I were to build 2 more pieces here, you'll see the colors go from blue down below up to green, and it still remains green until up to here where it's getting more of a yellowish color. And if I were to keep going, it would go to orange and then red. what happens with this is that this is because this yellow piece is only connected down to this one piece through one single connection. And therefore it's not able to hold very much weight on its own. It could still hold a second piece. So if I were to build a second piece on the side of this yellow piece now, you'll notice it goes orange because the yellow piece is trying to support the weight of the orange one, and it's all connected just through one line of connection. So this is not a very strong foundation here. If I were to build another piece on top of that, you'll see it goes to red. So these are the levels of integrity and strength that your pieces have, going from blue all the way up to green, to yellow, to orange, and to red. Now if I were to try and force build another piece on here, you'll notice as I go to build it, it'll just crumble and I won't be able to build any more on that. So that's one thing you got to think about when you're building, is looking at the color of the actual pieces you've built. Now I could reinforce this by simply building another piece underneath, and now you'll notice this is no longer orange, it's gone down to yellow, and it's a more of a brighter yellow. So if we kept going here, this original piece that was red, if I reinforced it down below, it is now to yellow, and now it can hold a little bit more weight. So you've got to be making sure that while you're building, to check the using the hammer tool, check the integrity and the strength of the pieces that you're building in order to make sure that you're actually able to put any more pieces onto them. Another way of actually reinforcing them is to actually build these wooden beams and poles in order to connect them to the ground, for example, through vertical poles to reinforce them further. One final tip I have for you guys is to stack your chests when you build them like this. So I built a little storage room here in my base, but you don't have to have this many. However, it's really much better to stack them because you save a lot more space. Now you can stack them in a half stack this way by just creating a small little wood floor. And then that way, when you go to build a chest, the chest actually can fit right on top, and you can build two right on top of each other, rather than just having a bunch of chests like this and then not being able to build anything on top of them. You can use little wood pieces there as a little foundation piece, and you can even destroy them after, and the chest will stay there and it'll float there if that's your style. So that's one way to actually be more efficient with your use of space. And as you can see here, with one single wall piece, you can fit two chests. So with my double wall here, I could technically fit up to 4 chests if I wanted to. Now, one final little bonus tip for you base builders out there: if you really want to appreciate your base, sometimes you want to take a screenshot, share it on Reddit, and just share it to your friends and family. The best way to do that is to hit Control F3 to take away the HUD. Now you can take those beautiful cinematic screenshots to your heart's content. Alright guys, so that's my top 5 tips for base building in Valheim for you guys, plus a little bonus tip there about the screenshots. I hope that was helpful to at least some people, at least when they're starting out in the game here. And go out there and start building. I'll see you guys in the next video.